Hi everyone, welcome back for another Possum Stamps video. This is Marla with Mad About Cards and Crafts, and today I'm creating a mini slimline card featuring the Coffee Besties stamp set. I'm going to show you this stamp set. This is the first time that I've worked with it. There are 5 different types of coffee cups, 3 sentiments. There are espresso beans and a cute little paw. The sentiments say, we're the perfect blend, puppuccino, coffee is always better with a friend, and coffee besties. Let's jump into the project. I do have a 3x6 piece of white cardstock that I'm going to do some background stamping with the paw print. As you can see to the left, I have Catherine Pooler inks in Pink Champagne, Hot Tub, Stone Blue, and Sage. Over to the right, I have my cleaning pad. So in between each color, I am cleaning off my stamp so I don't contaminate my inks. I do turn my stamp so I get different orientation. There, I just brought in the sangria, and I also stamp off the side. Now I'm going to use the double espresso beans, and I'm going to use the rose petal and the sugared lavender. Now I have the single espresso bean, and I will use the juniper mist and finally, quickly, the skylight. Once I've finished this background, I'm going to set it aside, and I have 2 rectangles here, one with stitching, one without. The one with stitching is the one that we're going to stamp on. I do have some embossing friendly ink. It's black ink, and I wanted to emboss this with clear embossing powder so that the image just really stood out on the card. This does allow me to color with Copic markers since it is a clear embossing powder. I'm going to round this cup. As you can see, I didn't go all the way to the edge when I added that dark line. I'm going to use my BG markers. I believe this is a BG 96. And that is what I'm going to use to add my shadows. I'll blend it out with a BG 93. And finally, I'm going to have a ton of white space with the BG 90. Sorry. This is my mapping. So I just wanted to make sure that I liked the way the colors blended, that I didn't want to bring in a 4th color. And now I'm going to extend those shadows. So I'm back in with my darkest color. As you can see, my shadow is going to be in the center of the cup. I do end up going over this image I think I end up with a 4th layer. So I wasn't happy with where the highlight was here. I just felt like I had too much highlight. So I go over it a 3rd time and extend that highlight. And then I walk away from it. In other words, I move on to the handle right here. And I'm going to start with my darkest color where the handle is meeting the cup. I'll blend it out with my mid-tone, and then where the tip of that handle is, that's going to be my highlight. I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my mid-tone and go over the whole thing. So I took my BG 93, and I like that much better. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom of the teacup of the coffee cup. And then I'm going to bring in some RV markers. While I'm doing the rest of this coloring, I do want to talk a little bit about the next release. There is going to be another release in, I believe, October. That will be the Christmas release. I hope you've enjoyed this fall and Halloween release. I think that we've had just some amazing design team projects, and I love the stamp sets that have come out. I hope that you have enjoyed what you have been seeing on this channel as well. If you haven't subscribed, we would absolutely love for you to subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified whenever we do upload another video. Here I'm going to use some warm gray markers to color up my kitty, and then I'll bring in a little bit of cool gray to color some shadowing into the whipped cream, which I always do this, and then I end up coming in with stickles and covering it all up, so I don't even know why I attempt to do that. those C markers because I always end up covering it up with stickles. I believe I color the ear in kind of a peachy tone. I'm really not sure what color marker I use. I kind of change up the color of marker that I use for the ears. I will go over the lenses of the glasses with a blue marker. I believe it's a B000 and finally a B01. And that'll just add a little bit more color. When I start blending around the edges of this little piece of cardstock, you're going to see at the bottom right that there's going to be that solid piece and it's been blended blue. Once I finished coloring this image, I decided to change directions. Now I knew I wanted to bring in some of the inks from Catherine Pooler just to tie in that background, but I felt like I wanted the blue for the sky on this section, and then I changed the color on the layering piece to the hot tub, which is kind of like a minty green. Here's where I'm going to come in with that C marker. And now we can move on to our ink blending. Oh, nope, I'm going to add just a little more pink. All right, so here I have that juniper. And I'm going to add that just around the edges with my blending brush, still leaving the white in the center. And I'm being very heavy-handed on the outside of the edge and lighter on the inside. And then I'll add the rose tone. So I'll bring in the rose petal right here. And you can see that blue piece right there. And then I'll bring in that solid white cardstock that I'm going to mount this on, and I'll use that hot tub. Such a pretty color, it really is. Once I get this on, then I believe we're going to start building our card. This was really a quick card that came together. Again, I was just looking more for the color tones. I thought that, you know, I've done cards on my channel using typical fall colors, the browns and the reds and the oranges, but there's more to the fall color palette, and that's what I thought I would share with this because this is such a fun and whimsical stamp set. I do have the sentiment that says, "Coffee is always better with a friend," which is adorable, and you can see that I'm masking it off. So I only want the word coffee on the cup, and that is the only word that's going to be on the front of my card. I do have a piece of acetate here to make sure that I have everything straight. I'll remove that tape because if I were to stamp it with the tape there, I would get a big blob of ink. So I remove that. And I think I'm going to adjust my stamp a little bit maybe. Let's see here. I'm going to clean it off. Yep, I'm going to adjust it just a little bit, and then I'll come back in with that black ink and I'll stamp the word coffee, and we'll start building that front of our card. I'm going to use some art glitter glue to glue this image to that back panel. So the one that I ink blended with the hot tub. And then we'll mount that to our Slimline back panel right here. So you can see that this is a 3x6 card base, side folding. And I'm going to layer this piece up. And we're going to just glue that to the front of our panel. And once I'm finished with this, I'm going to work on the inside of my card. Now, I don't always do the inside of my cards. I don't always stamp the inside of my cards. And that's because I like to leave cards open for interpretation. So if I'm looking for a birthday card, I can put happy birthday. If I'm wanted to let someone know I was thinking of them, I can say thinking of you. I know a lot of people like to finish off the inside of their cards, but I personally prefer to have a variety of generic cards around so that I can use them for many occasions. Here I'm stamping the rest of that sentiment, which says coffee, which says is always better with a friend. And then I'm going to use the little pup because that makes more sense, right? the kitty and the pup, they're friends. And once I do that, I'm going to add just a little bit to the front of the card. I do have the Nuvo, I think it's called Morning Dewdrops. I'm going to add that to the glasses. And then I'll add a little bit of stickles to that whipped cream, as I said, and that will finish off my card for today. I want to thank you so much for hanging with me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Have a fabulous day.